people just were hating on him basically, because they thought it was his fault. But I know him, so I know like he's very good.
This is Azento from Esports Heaven, and I have here with me Nukeduck. Congratulations on the win. I wanted to specifically ask you about red side and blue side. You guys picked blue side twice. So what was the reasoning for that, especially in game 2?
I felt like I was confident with like my strategy on blue side. Yeah, I mean, pretty much that. Like, I don't want to go like too deep into it, but I just I just kind of had it prepped pretty well. I knew what they were gonna do. Like, basically, I knew everything they were gonna do when we were blue side, so I was able to plan, and then we were able to like practice that, and so like I just felt confident with it. I think on game 1 we just lost our mind. They were getting completely like outdrafted and outplayed, in my opinion. But we just like lost like sight of what was important, and we just started like playing like into their win condition. Like I believe like they were not able to play the game if we were like playing correctly.
Yeah, I did notice that. So for game 1, it seemed like you guys switched it up completely for game 2 as far as the draft. You had a lot more engaged in game 2 versus game 1. Of course, it looked like you guys were very reliant on the Bard for getting your picks and engage off. Like, could you tell me the difference between your game 1 draft and game 2, and like what you were kind of thinking about it as far as like your team composition?
Not really. I mean, like, it was just different. They did some different things. We did some different things. I draft according to what the enemy draft, not just thinking about my own team comp. So, but I won't like go too much more into it than that. But like, yeah, like it definitely made the game like easier to execute for us. So I guess that helped in like a kind of a do or die game.
Sure.
But it was also like. But it wasn't, so yeah, it's pretty much that, you know. Like, we have some more like in-depth strategy that I want to talk about, you know, so.
Okay, well, let me ask you about the Nidalee pick that's been going on in North America. It seems to be quite high priority, and of course, all the Reddit comments and people on Twitter are just like, this is NA Nidalee, you know, like it seems like a bait pick. And even for your guys' game 1, of course, I wouldn't necessarily say the Nidalee was the problematic part of the team composition, but I know fans are going to point towards that. So what do you find is like alluring as far as like Nidalee as a pick? Like, why is she good right now in the meta?
Obviously, it's AD carry mid meta, and yeah, I mean, obviously we picked her today, so we do think she has some merit. She's a little difficult to execute. And yeah, I actually don't want to talk too much about that as well. I'm gonna be honest with you. Like, we think it's like it's a hard champ to play for sure. Mechanical ceiling is very high, so sometimes it doesn't work. You know, we want to become a good team. That we don't want to like put like what you call like or we don't want to like damper our ceiling for no reason. I think we have great players that can pull off like all kinds of champions. So if we think something is something we want to use, we're not gonna like be like, wow, this is too hard for us to play. We're just gonna try and then and do our best with it. Yeah.
So talk to me about integrating Mithy. Of course, way back in the day, I want to say on Origin, you both were teammates actually.
We were teammates in 2019 Origin, but also in 2013 on Lemon Dogs.
Oh, if you want to go way back, yeah, Lemon Dogs, okay.
Yeah.
So how has it been kind of interacting with him again and kind of integrating him into FlyQuest?
It's been pretty easy. He's like obviously a very experienced coach, and I knew that he's a very smart person. So of course, when C9 dropped him, it was no-brainer for me that I wanted him to be our assistant coach, because basically, like, I don't know why, but they got 3rd place. It's not that bad. They're probably going to get 3rd place again. So it wasn't a terrible result for them. And people just were hating on him, basically, because they thought it was his fault. But I know him, so I know like he's very good and smart. So yeah, easy pickup for us. He has a special like very like special competence, like very deep competence in like how support plays and how the team, how all his decisions impact team decisions. So he definitely like filled in there and made us just like a better team from that. Also, he had some other things that he brought to the team, like strategical things. So I would say like he's a very good strategical coach for me. So it wasn't hard at all. Yeah, like he also has already a rapport with Busu. He worked with him in Thieves and he worked with Big Boy in Fnatic. So yeah, I mean, just we're very happy with him. Yeah.
So you and Mithy are probably some of the only people now that were kind of playing the game during the lane swap meta way back in the day. We're talking like 2015. And it seemed like, I guess, that would give you guys an advantage as far as discussing how lane swaps work, what worked in the past, and what can kind of work now. So during the entire beginning of the lane swap meta, what, I guess, were your discussions with the team as far as like how to handle lane swapping and whatnot? Were you and Mithy like able to give really good insight on that?
Like as a staff, we think it's like we do talk a lot about lane swap, and like I think it's like that's something where the coaches should be like helping the players, and you can actually really see which teams know what they're doing in swap and which aren't. When you see, so for example, TL is good. I think we're good. I think some of the other teams, especially the bottom teams, are pretty like bad at it, and that's something like we take pride in trying to improve. But the meta is too different. So like we rather just like study VODs, theory craft, like because back then it's way too different. Back then there was not even plates.
Yeah.
And it was just very different. But it's something we're still very focused on though. And like because like the only real same thing is that you go to the other lane and you try to dive the guy so he loses farm. It's just like step one of the process, and everyone kind of understands that. So like yeah, yeah, pretty much yeah.
So I also want to get your thoughts on integrating new picks into stage games. So I had talked with a player actually a long time ago. I want to say it was like 2018. I talked with Xerxes, who was an old school jungler. And we had talked about the idea of integrating new picks. And it's kind of difficult because you have to, I guess, get buy-in from the rest of your team to say, hey, you know, I want to play Ivern top lane or something. And you have to get buy-in from the rest of your team. So how is it as far as FlyQuest's ideas of like integrating new picks or integrating niche picks, like say Urgot or Darius, you know, that you guys played today? Are you guys very open-minded about playing new picks or trying out new things? Like what, I guess, is the criteria for you to put in a new pick as far as like scrims or even stage games?
So yeah, I mean, obviously Darius isn't like a new pick for us, but it was at some point, right? And we try it, we make sure we understand like the strengths and weaknesses, and then we understand like when to draft it. And then the player also need to show some like skill on the champion. So it's very case to case basis. So for example, Vippo, he likes to be in the lab himself, and then some other players in our team, they need to be more pushed into playing new champions. So or not pushed, but like they also have some ideas, let's say, but like it just depends on person to person. And as like staff, you can also like play out the draft, like okay, what do you think they're gonna ban? What are we gonna ban? Play it out, and then think like, okay, this champion, if we could play, it would be like relevant in this weekend. So like maybe we try to pick that up. So it could come from any part. Like let's say a player thinks like, I can counter the meta picks with this, or the coach is like the draft is gonna go in a direction where like this is gonna become relevant, or something like that. Yeah, and then yeah, some people need to get pushed, and some people might need to be held back a bit, depending on like how much they want to experiment.
So your, I guess, next big matchup that everyone's kind of looking forward to is against Cloud9. What do you think about Cloud9 as a team?
They have like their top and mid have like good laning phase, I would say. So They their top mid have good laning phase. Their macro is pretty good, so there can be a tough opponent. But I do think we are better. I think our when they play against bottom teams, their mid and top just wins lane automatically. I think against us that won't be the case. And then I think like Blabber gonna have to do more stuff, because right now Blabber he doesn't have to do anything, right? He just farms, and I think against us he's gonna be way more uncomfortable, and it's gonna be a more like interesting game, I guess. Yeah, but because right now their wins are too easy because they're winning laning phase, and then they pick scaling team comps and win laning phase, so their games are just too easy in my opinion. So we're gonna try to not let that happen to us.
I am looking forward to that matchup, so it should be a fun one.
Yeah.
Well, this has been Azento from Esports Heaven and Nukeduck from FlyQuest. Thank you for your time.